Everyone knows New York. Everyone knows Los Angeles. Everyone knows Miami and Las Vegas and Chicago. These cities have been photographed, filmed, written about, and talked about so many times that most people feel like they already know them before they ever visit. But America is a vast, extraordinary country, and some of its most remarkable cities are the ones that most people have never thought to visit. Cities with history, character, food, architecture, and a quality of life that rivals anything the famous destinations can offer, without the crowds, without the overwhelming prices, and without the feeling that you are experiencing a place designed for tourists rather than for real life. Today, we are going to change the way you think about traveling in America. These are the most underrated cities in the United States that nobody talks about, and after this video, you will absolutely want to visit them. Let's start in the American South, because the South contains some of the most characterful, most atmospheric, and most consistently underrated cities in the entire country. Savannah, Georgia is one of those cities that stops people in their tracks the moment they arrive. It is one of the best preserved historic cities in America, a city of extraordinary beauty that was, remarkably, largely spared during the Civil War, leaving its antebellum architecture almost entirely intact. The city is built around a series of squares, 22 of them, shaded by ancient live oak trees draped in Spanish moss, each one a small park surrounded by historic townhouses, churches, and monuments. Walking through Savannah's historic district feels like walking through a film set, except that it is completely real, completely lived in, and completely extraordinary. The food in Savannah is remarkable. The city sits at the intersection of Southern cooking traditions and fresh coastal ingredients, shrimp and grits prepared with a depth of flavor that you will not find anywhere else, crab soup, fried chicken that is genuinely different from what you will find anywhere else in the country. The restaurant scene is intimate and personal, chefs who know their suppliers by name, menus that change with the seasons and the catch. And the city's riverfront, the historic Factor's Walk, where cotton merchants once traded, is now a neighborhood of restaurants, galleries, and bars that sits directly on the Savannah River, with views that are particularly extraordinary at sunset. From Georgia, let's travel west to a city that surprises almost everyone who visits it, Albuquerque, New Mexico. Most people who think of New Mexico think of Santa Fe, and Santa Fe is genuinely beautiful. But Albuquerque is a different and in many ways more interesting city. It sits in the Rio Grande Valley, surrounded on one side by the Sandia Mountains, which turn a remarkable shade of pink and watermelon at sunset, giving the mountain range its name, and on the other by the high desert mesa stretching westward toward Arizona. The light in Albuquerque is unlike the light anywhere else in America. Clear, intense, golden, the kind of light that painters have been traveling to New Mexico to experience for over a century. The Old Town district of Albuquerque is one of the oldest continuously inhabited European settlements in the United States, established in 1706, with a central plaza and adobe architecture that has remained largely unchanged for centuries. The food scene draws deeply from New Mexican culinary traditions that are distinct from Mexican food, from Tex-Mex, from anything you will find elsewhere, built around the extraordinary New Mexican chili pepper, which comes in red and green varieties, and appears in almost every dish in the city. When a server in Albuquerque asks you, red or green, they are asking which chili you want on your food. The correct answer, locals will tell you, is Christmas, which means both. The International Balloon Fiesta, held every October in Albuquerque, is the largest balloon festival in the world, filling the sky above the city with hundreds of hot air balloons at dawn. Even outside of festival season, Albuquerque offers hiking, cycling, and outdoor experiences of extraordinary quality, and at a fraction of the cost of more famous Western destinations. Now let's travel to the Pacific Northwest, to a city that sits in the shadow of its more famous neighbor and is, in many ways, more interesting. Portland, Oregon's neighbor to the north, Tacoma, Washington. Tacoma has spent decades being unfairly dismissed as the less glamorous alternative to Seattle, but the city has undergone a remarkable transformation in recent years, and has developed an identity and a character that is entirely its own. The Museum of Glass, a stunning piece of architecture on Tacoma's waterfront, contains one of the most extraordinary collections of contemporary glass art in the world, and its hot shop, where artists work with molten glass in full view of visitors, is one of the most mesmerizing things you can watch anywhere. The city's historic Stadium District, named for Stadium High School, a French Renaissance chateau-style building that was originally designed as a hotel, and is genuinely one of the most beautiful school buildings in America, sits on a bluff above Commencement Bay with views of the water and Mount Rainier that are simply spectacular. The food scene in Tacoma has grown dramatically, driven by chefs who have chosen Tacoma specifically because lower rents allow them to take creative risks that would be impossible in Seattle. The result is a restaurant scene that is inventive, personal, and genuinely exciting, and where a remarkable meal costs significantly less than the equivalent experience across the water. From the Pacific Northwest, let's travel to a city in the American Midwest that consistently ranks among the most livable cities in the country, and is almost never mentioned in conversations about great American travel destinations. Columbus, Ohio. Columbus is a city of genuine surprises. It is home to one of the largest university communities in the United States, Ohio State University, and the energy and creativity that a major university brings to a city is visible everywhere. The Short North Arts District, a neighborhood of galleries, restaurants, boutiques, and music venues that stretches along High Street north of downtown, is one of the most vibrant urban neighborhoods in the Midwest. On the first Saturday of every month, galleries open their doors for the Short North Gallery Hop, an evening of art, food, and street performance that draws thousands of people and creates an atmosphere unlike anything you would expect from a city that most travelers overlook. The food scene in Columbus is extraordinary for a city of its size. A significant immigrant population has created an authenticity and variety of international cuisine that rivals cities twice its size. Ethiopian restaurants in the city's diverse neighborhoods, Vietnamese pho that locals will argue is some of the best in the country, a thriving craft food scene that produces remarkable cheese, charcuterie, bread, and chocolate, and the city's proximity to some of Ohio's finest farmland means that the farm-to-table movement here is not a trend. It is simply the way things have always been done. Let's travel south now, to a coastal city that has been quietly becoming one of the most interesting food and culture destinations in America. Savannah's neighbor along the South Carolina coast, Charleston may be more famous, but let's talk about Wilmington, North Carolina. Wilmington sits at the mouth of the Cape Fear River, where it meets the Atlantic Ocean, and the city's position between the river and the sea gives it a geography and an atmosphere that is entirely distinctive. The historic downtown, centered on the riverfront, contains one of the largest collections of antebellum architecture in North Carolina, with streets of beautifully maintained 19th-century homes that tell the story of a city that was, for much of its history, one of the most important ports on the American East Coast. The beaches surrounding Wilmington, Wrightsville Beach, Carolina Beach, Core Beach, are some of the most beautiful on the East Coast, and they remain far less crowded and far more affordable than the equivalent beaches in Florida or South Carolina. The film industry has had a significant presence in Wilmington for decades. The city's studios have produced an extraordinary number of films and television series, and the creative community that has grown up around that industry gives the city a cultural energy that is surprising and wonderful. The food scene draws from the extraordinary natural larder that surrounds the city, fresh seafood caught daily from the Atlantic, locally grown produce from the farms of the Cape Fear region, barbecue traditions that are specific to eastern North Carolina, and unlike any other barbecue style in the country, a whole hog barbecue, cooked slowly over wood coals, and dressed with a vinegar-based sauce that is thinner and sharper than the tomato-based sauces of other regions, is one of the great American food experiences, and Wilmington is one of the best places to find it done properly. And finally, let's travel to a city in the American Mountain West that offers outdoor experiences, cultural richness, and a quality of life that most people associate with cities twice its size. Boise, Idaho. Boise has been growing rapidly for the past decade as people discover what those who live there have always known, that it is one of the most livable, most beautiful, and most interesting small cities in America. The Boise River Greenbelt, a 25-mile path that runs along the Boise River through the heart of the city, is one of the finest urban green spaces in the country, connecting parks, nature reserves, and neighborhoods in a continuous ribbon of trees and water that makes outdoor recreation a part of daily life rather than a weekend destination. The Basque community in Boise is one of the largest outside of the Basque country itself, and the Basque Block in downtown Boise is a neighborhood of restaurants, bars, and cultural institutions that celebrates this heritage with extraordinary food, music, and festivals that are unlike anything you will find anywhere else in America. The food at Basque restaurants in Boise, pinxos, lamb dishes, cod preparations, the extraordinary wines of the Basque region, is a revelation for people who have never encountered this cuisine before. The outdoor opportunities surrounding Boise are extraordinary. World-class skiing within an hour of the city, some of the finest whitewater rafting in America on the Payette River, hiking and cycling in the foothills immediately adjacent to the city, and the Snake River Plain, one of the great geological landscapes of the American West, stretching southward toward extraordinary volcanic features, hot springs, and wildlife refuges that most Americans have never seen and never think to visit. These cities, Savannah, Albuquerque, Tacoma, Columbus, Wilmington, Boise, are just 6 of the extraordinary American destinations that most travelers never think to visit. Each one has a character, a food scene, a history, and a quality of experience that rivals anything the famous destinations can offer. Each one will surprise you, each one will reward you, and each one will leave you wondering why you didn't visit sooner. America is bigger, stranger, more various, more beautiful, and more surprising than most people give it credit for. And the best way to discover that, truly discover it, is to look past the obvious choices and follow your curiosity somewhere unexpected. That is always where the best travel begins.